Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hey, folks. I bet you've missed the sound of my voice. Well, actually, you told me you missed the sound of my voice. I'm not so sure I missed the sound of my voice. But a couple quick announcements here. Since finally I got to log into my, not sure why it took forever. But, hey, everybody. I don't even know what day it was. I was going to say Wednesday. This is pretty sad, isn't it? So, first off, I want to start real quickly just to say thank you so much. In case you missed it on social media yesterday, I have now reached I think it's 103,000 listeners in 20 states, along with 15% international following with 5 new countries. I don't even know what to say about that. Well, I guess I will say this. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, including today's guest. I'm very, very blessed to have publicists and people in my life that are constantly looking out for me, sending me some of the best guests and people I could possibly ask for. That's number one. My listeners have been very loyal to me over the last 10 years. My partner's been screaming at me to go for syndication, so I guess now it's time to actually fully engage in that so that you guys can listen to me constantly. Wouldn't that be lovely? Said no one, but I guess you like me. So truly, deeply, I cannot thank you enough to every single person who's listening and has been on the show and who's helped me to continue to have a success with it. Thank you so much. So much. Second of all, real quickly, reminders on my film festivals. Art is Alive and Bedford Falls are both open for submissions. My festival, has the cap on it, which is shorts and features up to 90 minutes, as well as music videos and web and TV series, all a flat rate price of $20 for submission. Go to Film Freeway, look up Art is Alive Film Festival. Bedford Falls is knee-deep in submissions. Our festival is going live in April, and, of course, that's all black and white. Again, we are looking for shorts and features, no duration, along with newsreels, as well as web and TV. Frankly, I think Michael would take almost anything, or I for that matter, because it's black and white and it's hard to find. So, again, go to Film Freeway, look up Bedford Falls Film Festival. You'll be able to submit there. And last but not least, the Art is Alive magazine. In case any of you missed it and didn't see my update recently, last week of this month I will have my super issue, which is the last issue of this year. It has officially been 1 year since I started the magazine. If I get lucky, the people on the other end of this phone will say yes and be my cover, maybe this month or next. Anyways, please, www.theartisalivemagazine.com. Please go ahead and check it out. If you haven't subscribed yet, you should subscribe. And why? Because we have a contest going on. For any person that goes ahead and gets a yearly subscription between now and Christmas Eve, I will pick exactly 2 names, and those 2 names will both be getting a gift card for Christmas. So, www.theartisalivemagazine.com. Please go ahead and check it out. So, without further ado, these folks have been waiting 2 months to talk to me. So let's get Jenn and Jim on the line. They're much more interesting than all. Hello.
Merry Christmas, Cindy. How are you?
Hi. Well, have you been listening? I've been rambling and talking and getting in like 8,000 things at a time. So, and I'm very nervous. So I'm here.
Well, 8,000 things. You've done well. And 108,000 new are people. That's just wonderful. Congratulations. Hello, everyone.
Oh, my gosh. I'm very humbled. It's a lot. I mean, I'm very, very, very blessed that people still listen to me. But I'm a little off the wall. So that's a good thing, and that's probably why people keep listening. And I'm excited because my significant other's listening in, I think. So that always makes me more nervous. So welcome to the show. I take it you and Jim are both together there with the little boo-boo.
Yes, Jim is here. Hello,
hello.
Jim,
it's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
I
as
have
well.
to tell you, I have to say this right off the bat, so that your husband, Jim, isn't so scary, because I have to tell you that I was looking at his reel and some of the things he's done, and frankly, I'm frightened. I'm, afraid of your husband. He's very scary looking. My significant other plays a lot of scary guys, and I'm like, tell me he's nice, right? Really nice?
Yes, I'm a nice guy.
Yeah, if you've seen The Farmer and the Belle Saving Santa Land, that is who my husband is. He plays himself in the movie.
Pretty much.
I love him.
That's
but
so
when
cool.
he was, Cindy, when he was in the quad, I was like, baby, people are going to throw tomatoes at you. You are a horrid character. But he needed to be. He needed to be that character, because without that depiction, you don't have the proper narrative.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. You betcha. So I guess that's kind of a good place to start. I want to talk about, obviously we'll get into the film, but you two are obviously man and wife, so you're a couple as well as playing, well, not the whole time, but playing a couple, of course, in the film. So talk to me a bit about what it's like to work with your partner. I do it all the time. Most oftentimes we don't always see actors playing together. and at home and at work, so to speak. So tell me a bit about stuff for you both. Are there any challenges? Because now you have a family and you're getting obviously sensationally popular. So how is it working?
I think it's working great. I mean, we've been at this project alone for 4 years, and we have had a fantastic ride, and it's been really, really fun. And of course, we do have our moments because we're, she's a lady, I'm a fella, and we don't always think the same. But in the end, we ultimately know what our goal is, and we're both after the same thing. So we figure out a way to work through those differences where, God's made us all different. So,
one of the things, I'll come up with the creative ideas for the story, such as, hey, honey, let's have a horse in a pink onesie, and let's put a commercial shoot with that in the middle of New York City by the Flatiron Building. And then Jim will say, oh, honey, that's hard to do. And then as his logistical mind as a producer, I'm the creative mind, he will go and execute it, just like the hats that we put on pigs in the Santa Land in our movies.
And I did see that, as a matter of fact. Well, and here's
he's a sweetie pie right now, and he's with us on the call, and he sends his love to you too.
Oh, my gosh, I have to ask about the baby. Okay, so, of course, obviously I'm a longtime mom. Most people that watch the show, I'm okay. Actually, no, of course, I have a bunch of kids, et cetera. So you guys are doing this. Your boo-boo is how old now?
A little over 3 months.
Oh, my gosh. So you guys are in the stage of having no sleep, having a baby that's around and like, sleeping all the time. I remember these days, and I miss them, actually, to tell you the truth. So, how do you guys flip your schedules? Because obviously when you're working actors, you know the drill, especially because sets are unreliable. You could be gone all day or 2 days or whatever. So how do you juggle that and make it work properly for you?
Well, I was on a job for the just about the entire month of October, or the end of October into November. I was needed down in the South. So my family has a home there. My parents live there. So we just brought the kid and Jenn with me, and she stayed down there. And we were also releasing the movie at the exact same time. So we got through it with a lot of effort and help from family. So that's how we've been able to maintain it and handle it. Thankfully, James right now is sometimes doing 8-hour stints of sleeping, which is great. And it's not like the early weeks of the newborn's life where he's getting up every 2 hours. But yeah, that's how we've dealt with it. Thankfully, we've got grandma's right next to us.
And when baby was born, I got offered a lead in a Lifetime movie, and I was like, "Do you want a pregnant lady?" And he's like, "Well, we're gonna have to pass." So I think I'll have to wait a couple months until I get back up acting again, because I can't imagine leaving my little schnookums. Producing is easy because you could be at home producing, but acting, you definitely it's a different skill set and a different time commitment physically away from home.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And I know you folks can't, obviously we're on radio, so you can't see, but I can attest because she sent me a picture of this child, and I am in love. Oh, my God. This child is beautiful. I mean, if you've seen the movie, then they're both attractive, right? And then this child just is blessed with beauty. Oh, my God. He's so cute. He looks like Jim. I'm sorry, Jen, but he does. I just feel like Jim. I'm like, oh, my God, he's so cute. Adorable. So congratulations. That's awesome. And, of course, as a newborn, she looks gorgeous, right? Am I wrong? I mean, the woman just had a baby, and she looks beautiful. I'm a little jealous.
Absolutely.
I'm a lot jealous.
She's amazing.
That's very kind. With baby James, we're so happy, Cindy, that he's healthy. We're a little bit older, and to be able to have a baby that is healthy is just an answer to our prayers. And as you were talking about him, he was smiling ear to ear. Aww. I wish you could see him. It was like he was responding to you. It was so
cute. That's so cute. Now, I know that you're New York City residents at present, which I feel badly because it wasn't so long ago I was there, and had I have known that, I would have probably popped in and said, hey, we should have coffee or something. But I do want to talk about this because it's important. I always check in with my guests, and I know you're in New York. So obviously we hear about New York City all the time. My sweetheart is from New York originally, so I know that, people are hurting and having a hard time. So talk to us a bit about how you're holding up and what kind of keeps you strong amongst all the struggles going on right now.
Well, that's a really great question. Well, to be complete exact, we live in West New York, which is right across from the Upper West Side. So we're physically in New Jersey, but we're in that New York City.
We're right there next to the city. We're in the same hustle and bustle. We're just on the Jersey side.
Okay.
Gotcha. But New York and Jersey are pretty much going through the exact same thing, and it's been difficult. It was so shocking to go into the city and just see empty streets, and it's picked up considerably, but it's still not the same hustle and bustle that it used to be. And now with some certain indoor dining and certain places just continuing to stay closed, it's had an impact on the communities. And me and Jenn have been. We've been blessed. Jenn's been able to do some teaching with her acting classes, with the inspiring acting program that she has. And like I said, I was able to work on a job. I did some virtual telemedicine job, and then I worked on a feature film down in Alabama that wrapped in November. That was a lot of fun. That'll be coming out next year. And but we've also been fully into the release of The Farmer and the Belle Saving Santaland, doing interviews, making sure that press releases are going out and working with our PR team. And I have been fulfilling the store. So all the items that you see in the movie, like the bracelet and the children's storybook and a devotional that Jenn wrote, all are being packaged and shipped off by me right here from our little home here. So we've been able to stay pretty busy so far.
Yeah, one of the coolest dreams come true is I got to be on QVC last month with the bracelet from the movie. It was so amazing.
I mean, listen to these folks. They have the dream life.
Lots of hard work.
And lots of prayer. And lots of growth.
Absolutely, without a doubt. That's actually one of the things that I was going to bring up, is the fact that people have lost a lot of hope in humanity, of course, and there have been some very dark and dismal times, etc. One of the things that's nice about the project you're doing, and really everything that you've done, is you've really been into the core of doing things that are inspirational based, lots of spirituality, lots of wonderful themes to them. So tell me a bit about how, spirituality and entertainment isn't something that's hand in hand all the time. And I find it interesting that you've gone that path. Why in that direction? And moreover, what is the overall response then? And not just with this project, but in general, when you're injecting spirituality into the big screen.
Great question. Really great question. Jim, do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, we've, our faith is definitely something that's important to us, and it's a vital, cornerstone, bedrock, if you will, to what our careers are and what they mean to us. And a part of that is, for me, I often work in regular television and regular film, where I have an opportunity to go and display my beliefs in action and be able to communicate how God is influenced in my life and my story and that kind of thing. So that's been really, really great. And then there is a market for people that are interested in spiritual content, especially in regards to God. And so we definitely wanted that to be a part of The Farmer and the Belle Saving Santaland, and we wanted it to be interwoven into the story. And we did so that we wouldn't alienate the wide spectrum of the audience or the Christmas movie lover, because it has that wonderful Christmas story, it has that romance story, but it also has a family that mentions God, and that the light of Christmas is representing the Savior. But we do so in not a heavy-handed way, which was really important to us in order to keep that audience. And the response has been very, very, very encouraging.
That was so well said. I don't think I have anything bad. That was brilliant.
Oh my gosh!
Well,
really, look at that.
Well, and the only thing I think that go ahead, Cindy.
No, go right ahead.
I think the only thing to be able to add about the spirituality is my journey since 2010. I've worked predominantly in faith-based movies. So that marketplace I became very, very familiar with and researched what creates a successful film. And, you know, those elements, what makes a story interesting and breaks? And so then we worked with Movie Guide. We worked with psychologists, family. We worked with people who are a lot smarter than us in the script writing stage. So it's a story that you are entertained with, you are laughing, and then all of a sudden there's a moment that there's a pearl of wisdom that just drops in like 10 seconds. And you go, oh my gosh, that felt really good. I never thought of it that way. And then you're laughing and you're on the journey again. And then later on there's another moment that tells us why we're valuable and that we're a masterpiece. And then there's another moment that helps you understand that beauty is on the inside and it's not how we look. And so our main mission with The Farmer and the Belle Saving Santaland is really helping the girls and the women of all ages understand what inner beauty truly is and how to hold those lives captive that we think about our appearance or feel like we're aging or gaining weight or a teenager feels like they need to compete with social media to be liked. How do we hold those lives captive and overcome that negative thinking with truth that has been researched and proven true? And I think that's my perspective of how we've incorporated the spirituality into the Farmer and the Belle franchise.
Well put, both of you, by the way. Very, very well put. Can she tell that she's a motivator? She speaks eloquently and very enchanting, lovely, lovely. So one of the things I thought was so neat is one of your actors in the movie, who I've adored forever, Corbin Burnson, is, oh, my God, I love that man more than I can tell you, and I'm so jealous. So, yeah, and you got to be next to him. You got to work with him. He's done a lot of faith-based movies, too, which I find interesting. So was it that drew him to the project, or was he – tell me a bit about your correlation with him, because he's just lovely. I think he's just adorable.
Corbin's a buddy. I think he and I have been in 5 films. I have to do a count. It's either 5 or 6.
Nice.
And so we developed a real good friendship in My Daddy's in Heaven, where we both played the lead. So he played my dad. And so when The Farmer and the Belle Saving Santaland came up, Jim quite often always got a reference that he looked like a young Corbin Burnson. So when we needed to find his dad, it was just a natural fit. So he said, Corbin, you want to be in our movie? And he goes, I'm not a grandpappy, because that was the title of his character. and we're like, but you get a kissing booth. You get to be in a kissing booth.
Yes.
And then he read the script and he was so gracious. And he's like, I love what you're doing. I love this story. And in our virtual red carpet he just shared that he's going to be creating a script very similar in thematic to ours. Ours is discovering inner beauty for the girl. He wants to work on helping men with their value.
Very cool. That's very, very cool. And as a matter of fact, the beard's a nice touch. In fact, that whole kissing booth thing was so cute. I was like, it played together so very well. It does. It adds to it. And it's just that comedic element that comes and goes within your movie is one of many things that I noticed, of course. The other thing is you guys are the second movie where I found John Schneider in. I interviewed another filmmaker who actually used John Schneider. Wonderful things about him, too, by the way, as a matter of fact. And over the years, I've watched his career. Excellent choices on casting, like completely excellent choices there. You were spot on when it came to that, especially the little girl. I was like, oh, my God, that little girl with the side ponytail. I'm like, oh, my gosh. So I want to ask this question. You're both actors as well as filmmakers now. So what I want to ask is this. Oftentimes, filmmakers make a project specifically because they want it to be seen and not so much make a difference, for instance. It's obvious that you want to make a difference and push your meaning and get people motivated, etc. So when you sat down and put this film together, was that the number one focus was we are doing this specifically and figuring out how to get a message across? And if you didn't win accolades, and you did, by the way, because I saw your win at the film festival, were the awards less important to you versus getting your word out and raising awareness about the beauty of us within?
Yeah, I think that's That's exactly right. That the story of Belle is another word for beauty, and that's part of the title. So it was definitely something that we wanted to focus on. But see, the thing is that when you're trying to make a film that has a message, you also have to have a film that's entertaining, and you have to have a film that's watchable, and you have to have a film that people can just really connect to, just in a story format. So we actually, in the original versions of the script, we actually had we almost overloaded it with part of the messaging to the point that it became exhausting, because every 5 minutes we were talking about inner beauty. And we did a screening in New York with our acting teacher, and he kept saying, "Come on, we get it already. We get it. Beauty's on the inside. We get it. And so it was really important for us so that people could just be along for the ride. And then, like Jen said, just all of a sudden you have that pearl of wisdom drop in. But so we wanted to make a good movie first. We wanted to make a good movie, and we wanted to make sure that we had that message, but we needed the movie to be good, because you can't have an effect on somebody through a film watching experience if your movie's not any good. You can have the best message in the world about inner beauty, but if your film's not any fun to watch, the message is going to fall flat because the film was boring.
And we worked hard
Absolutely.
to make it as a movie to usher in the spirit of Christmas, to be that fun Christmas tradition that families do every year, that fun movie that people want to watch over and over again. And I know I have a family that we have a box of DVDs of our favorite Christmas movies. And when we started off with this, I was like, Lord, I would love to have our DVD in families' boxes. So each year they pull it out, and they're getting a good message of love and hope and value as we usher in the light of Christ for Christmas in a fun, hilarious way.
And it worked.
And
I mean,
so
not only that, it's touching. You know what I mean? I mean, you watch this film and you say to yourself, and I hope this certainly isn't an insult. It's not meant to be. But automatically, like in the first 30 minutes, I was thinking, you know what? This is the same quality and caliber as you find on the Hallmark Channel, Lifetime Channel, that sort of good stuff. I'm sure you've probably heard that before. It really does fall along the same vein, meaning, the filming itself, the casting, everything is above par. Not to mention, the message is different and interesting. I mean, we've heard the term inner beauty, is what matters, but it's done in such a different way. And what's really cool, in case you folks listening in, now I know that this, at the end, your real nuptials are in there, which I thought was so cool, because the Atlanta, Georgia thing, I'd like you to talk a bit about coming from there and the farm and incorporating that into the film, because I think that's so lovely.
Yeah, well, that was very easy to incorporate that into the film, because my great-grandfather settled on that farm in 1918. So essentially 100 years after he was there, we shot on it. And my parents still have around 200 acres, as well as a little Bible camp for kids every summer. So you see some of that in the project itself. And then our neighbor opened up their barn for us to make the Santaland Festival and their little barn lot in order to create that. So it was really, really great to save on location costs, but also to involve my whole family. And you mentioned the little girl. That little girl's my niece. She is my niece in real life, which is why she's from that property, which is why she was able to just walk around those goats and walk around those cows and walk around those pigs without being freaked out, because that's what she does. And she knew exactly how to pour that rotten food into the trough, because that was left over from craft services. We saved a bunch of rotten food, because that's what pigs eat, especially when you're on a farm. Yeah, so that's why she was just right at home. So it was great to bring that Georgia element that's part of my family and my history, and to have my whole family involved, which made it just such a lovely experience all in all. My brother, my dad, my mom, my cousin, everybody just participated to help make it a success.
Oh, that's so cool. As a matter of fact, and the other thing, too, is just seeing you with the real live nuptials and knowing that you actually got married for real, which kind of brings it to another level. It's so sweet that you're able to pull out the chemistry in the movie, and then at the end we get to see the real couple, which is awesome. I have to ask you about the agent. The guy you cast as the agent in New York, he's hilarious. Who is this guy? We want to talk about him. I think he's awesome.
Oh, my gosh, Robert Amaya. And anyone who's seen the movie Courageous, he plays the Snake King in the back of, the police office car. And he launched his career with that role. And, oh, my gosh, he killed it in this role. Every moment he's on screen, you laugh. And I'm going to bring it back a moment. You talked about how the quality looked like a Hallmark movie. Well, we hired a writer who delivered our final script who writes for Hallmark. Every image you see on screen was governed by a Hallmark design because we wanted to sell to Hallmark. So after Hallmark passed, because we're not Christmas Romance, we have a message, we then were able to amp up our comedy. And so we shot Robert and Maya this year during COVID, and we said, buddy, just bring it. Bring your hilarity because we want to punch the comedy as much as we can because Hallmark is not about comedy. They're about romance. So we were like, let's punch it up. And he kills it. And he's so funny. And we don't want to give it away, but like his I don't want to say it. The something with diapers. Something with diapers and not baby James's diapers.
Yes, I absolutely love it. That's why I had to bring him up. Like, he was just a gem as far as that goes. There's so many moments within the course of this, too. What's interesting is I've been judging films for years now, and so when I watch films, it's usually more for technique, and so oftentimes I can get bored sometimes, and I'm like, okay, but you kept my interest. That's a very big thing. For me to not sway away or do work or do something else, I was completely focused on watching this. It was a shock to find out that Jim's character, without giving it away, who Jim's character really is in the backstory as far as that goes, because I don't want to give away the entire plot, of course. What else is, what other thing that stood out to me is, Jen, I have to ask you, in the beginning with the modeling, oh my God, she's got like 27 hair colors, all these styles. Some of those pictures, I didn't even recognize you. I'm like, how did you pull all that off, girl? Seriously.
Well, the Asian man that you saw in the makeup, as the makeup artist, he plays himself, and I truly am the face of his line called Jubilee. He has a makeup school and a product line in Beijing, and that's how those images came about. I had a 3-year campaign and was out in China, and I'm 5 foot short. There should be no reason I have a modeling campaign. That's insanity. But those images have been on billboards. People have seen them all the way out in Russia. And so we wanted to use many moments of our real true story throughout the crafting of The Farmer and the Belle. So those images were actually in print. The images where you see me and Brother Jenn, is his name, signing, those were actually live when I signed the contract in China. And
I was filming that.
It came from Jim's cell phone. When I'm in the pink dress, not the pictures. The pictures were done by Brother Jenn. He's a celebrity makeup artist in China. And
the other cool thing is that when young Belle is handed that magazine, that's actually Jenn.
Oh my gosh!
Oh well, it's a good little Easter egg. Now people can look at it and say, "Oh, that's actually the main person."
The magazine says looks aren't everything; they're the only thing, and that's the lie that I would say 90% of women from our research believe, starting at a very early age, like around 6. And so we couldn't find a high fashion image, or could we produce God bless you, baby James, or produce a high fashion photo shoot. So we took an image that looked the farthest away from me, and we used that as the cover of the magazine because we're like, no one's going to know. They're just going to look at the words.
Oh my God. And if people are interested in listening, by the way, because I am terribly good with shameless promotion. I literally promote anything, anywhere, anytime. So if somebody would like to get a hold of this celebrity gentleman, how would they reach him? He's on social media, I presume?
Through WeChat.
Yeah, they only have one type of social media that is connected worldwide, and that's WeChat.
Yeah, so I think the best way to connect with Brother Jenn would be connect with us, or actually connect with me, and then I would connect you on WeChat to be able to communicate. And then Brother Jenn would be so honored to do makeup and look and design. It's impeccable, the skill set that he has.
Oh, I bet. I can, just by looking at the movie, I was like, oh my gosh, there's just some people that can transform a human being to the point where you can see every part of them. They kind of bring your inside outside, so to speak. And he did amazingly well. I mean, the costuming and the wardrobe was lovely. I mean, very, very nicely done. And the location, where did you guys film primarily everything?
Everything except for the stuff in New York. was filmed in what's called the Macklemore's Cove in Chickamauga, Georgia, which is at the base of Lookout Mountain. And for reference, it's close to Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Northwest Georgia.
Gotcha. I kind of figured it was something along those lines, of course.
Like
and when we talk about,
small
you mentioned
town that no one's ever heard of.
Well, anybody who paid attention in history class knows Chickamauga. It's
That's
one
true.
of the biggest battles was fought there during the Civil War.
Now I feel stupid because I had no idea. That's terrible that I don't know. I probably should because I'm a journalist. So thanks, Jim, for embarrassing me in front of 100,000 people.
No.
That
It's not
great.
your fault. It's the public school system's fault.
There you go. That's exactly right. Now I have,
and some people call it
Go ahead,
Chickamauga, and that's
oh my God. So I want to ask an acting question out of both of you. We'll start with Jim. You're 6'3". You're even taller than my honey, which I was like, oh my God, 6'3" is quite tall. So talk to us a bit about things like that, meaning when you have a size, a stature, etc. Is it a help or is it a hindrance when it comes to casting? Because sometimes I'm told by other actors that, these sorts of things aren't always the greatest in terms of getting gigs.
Yeah, well, it's just like anybody's physical dimensions in the world of acting, they can be kind of a blessing or a curse because, you can not get a role because you're too short. You can not get a role because you're too tall. Case in point, I was scheduled to play a role, or not scheduled to play, but picked by the casting director to play one of the Dodge brothers in the History Channel's big the TV show they did. And because I was taller than the guy who was going to play my brother, it on camera was not going to look right. So my height actually prevented me from getting the role. But, other times, when I need to play that authoritative cop or that I need to play somebody of some stature, then the size is good because I'm not too tall to where I'm too much of a giant, but, 6'3" plus is pretty tall. And then on camera, I just look miles above everybody else, I'm because of just of that height. But it's actually been pretty good. I can say that I can't complain because of my height, but it can go both ways.
Oh, I imagine so. On the flip side, Jen, this is actually one of my followers who mentioned this to me to ask you, relative to acting. Now, most of you who don't know, because you might not have looked at her IMDb or reel or heard of her, I know, of course, that one of the films you were in was Frost Nixon, which, of course, got a lot of attention and publicity and did fabulously well. So my question is, or I should say my follower's question is, when you come from films such as that, again, I don't want to say typecast, but their question was kind of like, all right, if she's in a big Hollywood blockbuster type movie, what is the appeal to her to do more the indie type? Because, that top rung, everybody wants to get there. So why not stay there? Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's a phenomenal question. And that's baby James. He wants to answer. He's taken over.
Feel free. Just put the baby on. We'll talk to him the whole time.
Yeah. The truth is two answers. One, I would love to be able to work in mainstream box office blockbusters. I would love to if the storyline has the ability to inspire and impact audiences. So that's my wiring in the inner guts of me, is to play protagonist roles that go through the dark challenges, the grit of life. And then in the climax of the story, there's revelation, there's hope, there's new beginnings. And my calling is to be able to do those types of stories so that people are watching the movie and they could relate, they could identify, and they could say, that's me. And then they could say, I don't want to go down that direction anymore. Or they could say, wow, if I make that choice, that could be my new future. And so that's the reason why I ended up getting work in the market that I have. The first film I was cast in that was a lead role with John Schneider was Doonby, Doonby, and I played one hot mess alcoholic, and who was, talk about an acting role, a kaleidoscope of color all over the place. And then from there, that's where I deemed roles like In God's Country. And then one of my favorite films from an acting perspective is My Daddy's in Heaven. That character's rocks that they have to go through is just insane. And then there's hope at the end of the tunnel. So I'm driven by the actual story. And I love when the ability of that movie has legs to get out to meet an audience. And that's the biggest disadvantage of the indie films in the faith market that I've been a part of, because the legs aren't there to be able to reach. As Frost Nixon, the character Tricia Nixon, the president's daughter, Ron Howard had the ability to push it through to being Oscar nominated 5 times. And that movie still follows into the core line of my desire, which is to impact and inspire.
And isn't it impressive that she's in this movie and just talking about it like, oh, yeah, I was in Frost Nixon, no biggie. Oh, my God, you were in Frost Nixon. Hello? I'd be
it's a really
oh, my
cool
God,
testimony. It's a really cool testimony. God bless you, baby James.
It is.
Our little baby woke up, Cindy, right when we began our call, and so he's been such a good boy hanging out with us.
Oh, gosh.
When he gets older, we're going to have to tell him.
Oh, and now I feel bad. I'm like, great. The only time that they finally say they're ready to do it, we're all set, and the baby gets up, which is fine because he's doing fabulously.
No,
so I want to talk. I want to talk about the movie itself, of course, because I've already seen it. I've already watched it and picked it apart in good, bad, and otherwise. And there's no bad, by the way. That's just the whole point here. I love it when my guests come on, and I'm like, I don't even have one thing I can think of that doesn't work for this film. And I'm not just saying that because you're on my show. It legitimately works, and it works well. For those that are listening in, of course, The Farmer and the Belle, boy meets girl when they are young. Actually, I should let you tell your synopsis because you're going to do it a lot better. So if you would, tell your listening audience the premise of the story, and most importantly, do you feel it would have worked the same had you have cast 2 different people, or if Jim had been cast with a different...
Gosh, what a great question. All right, let me share the synopsis, and then we'll answer the casting. So when the movie begins, first of all, it is a fun, festive Christmas movie. It's got romance. It's got kids' adventure. And it starts with a little girl who's 10 who gets this heirloom bracelet from Grammy. Grammy tells her that beauty is on the inside, and that bracelet is inscribed with that pathway to that truth. Okay, so this little girl goes and meets her pen pal, and they go to Santaland, which is this farm festival, and she loses the bracelet nowhere else but in the pig swap. Now she's a famous model as an adult, and she believes a new vision that her value is based on her looks. She believes she needs to be pretty to be liked. And now her career is aging out, and Robert Amaya tells her that she doesn't have the ability to book jobs anymore of big grandiosity value. And so she goes, you know what? I need to find that bracelet. I'm missing something inside my soul. And so she decides, I've got to overcome my fears and go back and face the cows, the goats, the chickens, the pigs, and her pen pal, who they just stopped writing. And in doing so, she has to determine if she doesn't find that bracelet at Santaland, will she turn to that spark of divinity for her value, or back to the glitz and glam of the fashion world at Christmas? And so that is the synopsis of what the movie is. And it's a good question regarding, would the movie be still as successful if another actress was cast instead of me? I think the answer is absolutely yes, without a doubt, because I understand the value of this role, but 90% of women also understand what this role means, because most women deal with their appearance. And you could be the prettiest thing in the world and you still think, oh, something's wrong with me. So I think many women would be able to relate and be able to portray this character. I look back as an actor, if we were not selling to Hallmark, my character would have had a lot more range. But because we were selling to Hallmark, I've laid my performance in a Hallmark style level of range where you don't have many high highs, you don't have many low lows. You're just kind of in that mid-range of performance. So, yeah, that would be my answer.
Perfect. Good answer. And Jim, would you concur with that? Do you think that
Yeah, I think
that's
true, and that I believe so, and it's a really good question, because that's something we would never even really would have thought of, because this has been the story that Jenn has been had on her heart for just so long. So for it to finally be coming out, we just couldn't imagine it being any other way. So yeah, I think that she nailed it.
Oh, thank you. I look at a lot of
did.
moments and think, well, I wish I could have done that better. But I think every actor, we need to grow. No one's finally arrived. You have always the ability to learn and to grow.
Yeah, we actually wanted to try and utilize the other characters in that position in order to help bring in some people that people would recognize, so that they could see it and say, oh, I know who that person is, and if they don't know who we are. But it's our story that we made, and we were very blessed to be able to do it together and have it come out the way that it did.
Yeah, and I think my favorite part is the bracelet, and the inscriptions that are engraved on there came from all the research that I did, because I struggled overcoming those negative thoughts, and then I inscribed them on a bracelet, and to be able to help other girls so people don't have to be in the dark anymore. They can actually have a pathway out to freedom and confidence and self-esteem. And it's just exciting that bracelet is available to help people. And then there's a book that goes with it to help explain, what does it mean when we say body and soul are marvelously made? What does it mean when it says plans to prosper you and not to harm you? And really, how do you start to take those and apply them into your life? And I think that's one of my favorite things about the franchise with The Farmer and the Belle.
That was a great lead-in. I was literally going to go to that question. However, I have one other question before I get to the products associated with the movie. I'm a sucker for a good love story. I like telling my love story all the time. He probably doesn't like it, but I do. So I'm curious to ask, of course, how did you meet your current husband in real life?
In real life, we met on, you guessed it, a film set.
Ooh, he played the bad guy. I played the good girl. And what did I do to your
The good girl has a moment where she needs to protect her and her husband's legacy, because she's actually getting ready to thinking about stepping out on her husband. So she ends up killing me because I'm a blackmailer.
Oh my gosh.
I'm blackmailing her and her political-driven husband in order to get money, and she figures that out and decides that I need to take a long sleep.
Yeah, so that was a match made in heaven. And I was coming out of a very painful relationship, a divorce, and I was extremely broken. I couldn't connect to a rock as an actor, and so Jim and I had to have a good chemistry on screen. And I'm like, I got to hang out with this man and break down this wall to be able to do the work as an artist. And so when we developed our friendship, we realized, my gosh, we have so many things in common, and we have such a joy and a passion to be with each other. And that became the foundation of our relationship, was our friendship. And then this man, he courted my heart with pen pal letters. He literally wrote me handwritten letters because we lived long distance. And that we decided to put in the movie, The Farmer and the Belle. There's a lot of moments in the movie that are from our real story that are fun little Easter eggs. So that is how we met, and we focused on friendship, which was the heart of our relationship.
Gosh, how ironic. I was just talking about that today. I was like, it's wonderful to have a partner who's also your best friend. It's the best kind of relationship. Being able to work together and be together in a relationship is always wonderful. And that's a sweet story. I just got to say aw again. I'm like, aw, because I have a huge heart for long-distance relationships, because I'm in a relationship where it's long distance. I mean, he'll be home a lot more now, but I'm like, it's tough. I don't think people realize it's hard to have a relationship that works to begin with and then try doing it when you have a distance apart. It's extremely difficult. Yeah. So I admire your strength and persistence, and that's absolutely lovely. I want to mention the three different products from the film that are actually on your website as well. Obviously, the beauty bracelet, as well as the two different books. One being the Divine Beauty book and Beautiful Mabel, of course. Beautiful Mabel, I love so much. So tell me a bit about that and the bracelet, of course, because those are not only seen in the film, but those are just signature pieces that are at the core of, really at the core of the concept of the film. So tell me a bit about those.
Absolutely. Well, like I was sharing, the lie, if I'm pretty enough, then I'll be liked. That's the lie that we wanted to destroy. So since it starts at a young age, we created a book for the youth, for the little kiddos. And we wanted to hire the best children's book writer that we could find. And our business partner, Joel Bunkowski, was friends with Mike Naraki, who created Veggie Tales. And Mike said yes, and he, talk about a grand slam at a baseball arena. He killed it with the writing of Beautiful Mabel. Oh, my delicious. This little book, it follows this little chick whose name is Mabel, but Mabel is not pretty, plump, or productive. And she's invited to this school where all the chicks are, and she doesn't know why she's there. And then the top hen house, says, you're here because you have a kind heart. And I wanted everyone to understand what kindness is. And so through the journey of the story, Mabel teaches all the other chicks to be kind. And at the end of the year, they change their motto to being always kind. And so we realized that little kiddos, they don't understand what beauty is, but they do know how to do modeling poses. Like seen in the movie by our niece who plays Adele. She strikes the pose, and she's 8. And I'm like, how do you know how to do this? It's because every kid does. So we wanted to speak into that and help them understand kindness is what's so beautiful. And then, like I spoke a little bit earlier, the devotional book, it's written by Michelle Cox. She writes for Hallmark's devotional book series for the When Calls the Heart hit show. And so we partnered with her because she's the best writer that we could find in the devotional side, and she and I wrote it together. I took all the research, all of the study, the test groups that I did with taking these psychological principles, and then I wrote the first draft, and then she took it and created it into this really applicable, very effective book that's broken down into 5 weeks. And then the bracelet goes along with the book so you can understand what each piece means. And the bracelet, for those who are listening, oh, my gosh, it's such a cool bracelet. The chain is inspired by a Tiffany-style chain. There are 5 charms that they are smooth and thin and very weightless, and they're inspired by Alex and Ani. And the chain is adjustable, so the heart, the bottom of the chain, is created that it falls into the palm of your hand. So you wrap the chain around your wrist, you clasp it where your wrist ends, and then the rest of it falls down into your palm. And that, Erin Smalley, one of the psychologists we spoke with, says you have to have an open heart. If your heart is closed, you can never grow. So the front of the heart is almost like an affirmation saying to your soul, open my heart. And then the back is a prayer, and it says, Dear Jesus, help me grasp how wide, high, long, and deep is your love for me. And I know with me, I had a C-section with baby James, and I was frightened. I was pee-your-pants scared. And I would hold on to that heart as if I was holding on to the hand of God. And the love that I felt as a reminder just removed that fear off of me. And when I had phone calls that I'd been scared to make, speaking to executives during this project, I would hold on to the heart, and it would give me strength because it was holding on to a prayer. And so those are some of the things that we have in the movie. We also have a really fun soundtrack. But those 3 products are standalones that you can enjoy all throughout the year. And they're featured in the film, which makes it a fun journey.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. And it is beautiful, actually. I was just thinking to myself, I wonder if every little girl had one of those out there, they would grow up and things might be 150% different for all of them. You know, just an incredibly good invention and a wonderful thing to incorporate in there. Now, I know that you won at the Great Lakes Christian Film Festival, and I see that you're plastered all over the place where you can be watched online as well as purchased offline. But outside of that, how are things going? Meaning, now, are you at the point yet where you're going to do the circuit for a while? Or have you decided you're going straight to distribution? Because I see you're working with an agent. So tell us a bit about where you're headed with this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Jim just went on baby diaper duty, so I'll take the question, and when he comes back in, he'll pick up. So we've got one of the coolest distributors for independent films. Vision Films has knocked it out of the ballpark. We have international distribution, so our movie right now has been purchased in several countries across the globe. COVID made it difficult for a lot of things because your broadcasters, your television stations did not have the buying power like they normally do because advertising budgets have gone down because the consumer has not been buying like they normally do. So after we were turned down by Lifetime, turned down by Netflix, and turned down by Hallmark because of our message is about discovering inner beauty. And when the buyer for Christmas, they were just looking for Hallmark and Lifetime Christmas romance. So our distributor said, let's go out where everyone is watching content right now. They're watching it on demand. They're watching it on cable. They're watching it at home. And so that's why you could find us on every streaming platform. Amazon Prime, we just opened up a couple days ago, where we used to be on Amazon Instant where you would have to buy the movie. Now we're on Prime. So if you have a subscription, you can watch the movie that's included in your subscription, AKA free. And then when the movie came out, we worked with an amazing distributor, Mill Creek, for DVD. And we're still in Walmart, and we're on Barnes & Noble's online and Best Buy online. And when the movie came out, we actually sold out of DVDs on Amazon and Walmart online because of the demand was so great for the film, which was astronomical. And then Jim started researching where we fell in Amazon with the hundreds of thousands of DVDs out there, and we were falling in the top 10 for romance and for Christmas, alongside White Christmas. And so it was incredible when the film came out, the traction, and it just came out a month ago, that people have just really been enjoying this story. And, so our distribution has been great. We wanted to go theatrical, and our company that we are working with, they ended up having to close their doors because of COVID. So that company came to an end. And then we wanted to have our premiere in Manhattan, in Times Square at Regal Cinema. And we had that lined up. Jim worked his butt off for that, and then Regal closed their doors. Maybe next year, when COVID clears up, we'll be able to go out to the small ma and pa, theaters across the country that could enjoy a hometown Christmas movie.
Absolutely, I would agree with you there.
Jimmy, do you have anything else to say?
No, that was beautiful.
I know she does really well, doesn't she? She's like, I'm just going to tell you everything.
Yeah, one other thing that was really cool about what you mentioned about the Amazon stuff is that for romance titles, they don't do a Christmas title thing, but for romance titles is what she was talking about, like where and it's all romance titles. So what I did was I went through and counted all the Christmas movies that were in that section, and we were the 15th Christmas movie. So we were right there. Like White Christmas was 1, and then we were number 15, and we were surrounded by things like Holiday and the Holiday with Jack Black and all those major releases that are still on DVD, and then of course all the Hallmark movies and that were intertwined with there, and we were actually ahead of some of those major Hallmark movies. So it was really cool to be a non-major theatrical release previously or a non-major network deal DVD to be in there with that company. And under the new release category, we hit number 4. So it was in romance. So it was really, really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely. I don't want to forget to mention this. Both have future projects coming up. Jim, on your side of the fence, tell me a bit about, I saw in post-production you've got Lansky and a couple other projects. 2 more, right? Castle Falls, Lansky, and The Dark Forever Winter.
Yeah, so The Dark Forever Winter will be coming out soon, I think, unless it's already been released. I can't remember.
I forgot about that.
If only they sent us the screener, because I think I got an email with the screeners for it.
Sure.
I think that they're getting ready to shoot another portion of that, so that might be released. I'm not sure, but it is going to be on PureFlix. And if it hasn't been released yet, I believe it'll be on PureFlix. Yeah, and then for Castle Falls, I wrapped on that in November, which I play a foreman on a construction site that where the lead works at. Action star named Scott Atkins is the lead of that. A lot. If there's people that are listening that love action movies, they'll know exactly who he is. He's been in The Expendables, and he's been in some Marvel movies, and he does a lot of action movies that go on Netflix. And with this one, he teamed up with Dolph Lundgren, who's also one of the stars, and he also directed. So I had 4 days on that. It was a lot of fun. Got to meet,
Nice.
Dolph and work with him. And then Lansky I shot right as COVID was starting to gain traction in China. I shot that in February of last year, and that's going to be a new Harvey Keitel release, along with some other wonderful talent. I don't have the list in front of me, but a lot of,
Sure.
a lot of people from major television and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. So I don't know when that'll release, but that was a really cool film to be a part of too.
Oh, I bet, definitely. Now, Jen, on your side of the fence, what do you got going on for the future besides 8,000 things, apparently? Wow.
It's hilarious. Going on for the future is taking care of a little baby and being a new mama. I'm attached to a lot of wonderful projects that, when they go into production, it'll be a new journey to figuring out how to bring baby with. And I think what's a kind of a neat thing right now, I have 6 movies that came out in the last 2 months. And I've never been in a Christmas movie in my life until this year, and I'm in 3 of them. Hope for the Holidays, A Gift for Christmas, and The Farmer and the Belle Saving Santaland. And it's crazy when you go to Walmart and you see some of your titles right next to each other. Kevin Sorbo and I are the leads of Forgiven. And, it's been a really neat season, and a lot of these movies just are a lot of fun.
Yeah, then First Lady came out Valentine's Day of last year.
Yeah, in theaters, that's right. And then they just released on demand, I think 2 weeks ago we got the email. And then Camp Arrowhead is also another really good movie. I play a witch, not literally a witch, but my character is evil, horrific, just a rotten piece of bag. And my friend who cast me on that, I'm like, why did you cast me as this crazy character? She goes, well, Jen, you play it so well. If the shoe fits, wear it. And I'm like, I hate you. And then she wanted to cast me as another evil villain in another movie. And I'm like, Starla, these roles are hard to play just because it's not part of my bones. And that's what acting is. You've got to find, you've got to craft and create and develop and change your energy, temperament, all of those elements to be able to become believable on screen. So that is that. And then I'm also teaching, I love teaching acting. Inspiring Actors is the program that Susan Shear and I run. And so I really walk through mostly with actors who are working actors. A beginner actor is a little bit difficult for me to work with just because of the level of the depth of emotional and character development that we work through is, I would say, more for your intermediate to your advanced.
Did you hear all that? Oh, my God. I don't know how you people breathe, sleep, have any time. By the way, do we date? I mean, do we have time to date at this point? I always ask people that. I'm like, when do you do that? Or is it now you and your hubby and baby?
It's always the 3 of us now.
Oh, and last Saturday, he's like, honey, we're going to go on a surprise. And we drove out to Brooklyn where they have all of these streets decorated in Christmas lights. And we parked our car and we walked, and baby James was all wrapped up as his little 3-month-old newborn, and we got hot cocoa. And then a couple days ago, we went to a farm that was decorated in Christmas lights, and baby James had a feed right at that time, right as our car was beginning. So he got front row seats while I was nursing him while we were driving through the Christmas lights. It was awesome.
Gosh. Oh, my gosh, look at that. And that's refreshing to hear. I think all of us get so worked up in everything we're doing that we forget that we need to make time for each other. So that's truly, truly important. So I have a question for you both, because before I read off a bunch of things, now, I have about a good, 30 minutes more worth of questions. But you might remember, if you were listening very carefully in the intro, that one of the things I mentioned was that if I got lucky, that if I asked you really nice, you might consider the offer that I have for you. I purposely saved a bunch of questions in the hopes that when I asked both of you, if you would mind terribly doing a feature article and being on the cover of my December magazine, that you might say yes.
I think, what do you think, Jim? Paper, rocks, and scissors?
No, I think we can say yes.
I think we can say yes.
Really? Really? Oh, my God, they're not even saying
we would love to.
Yes. Yay! Have you done a cover before? Have you been a cover?
I have. Jimmy, have you?
No. I'm not cover girl material, apparently.
You're cover
Yes,
girl,
you
baby.
are. Oh, listen to this. He's so cover guy material. I'm telling you, watch the movie. You're totally going to be like the dude should be on. So
Oh
now
my
I
gosh,
can
Cindy,
stop
when I first met him, when we were on the movie Sinking Sand, the light hit him in the most majestic way, and my character was turned away from him for my starting point. And as Brian yelled action, I turned, and the way the lights hit Jim, I literally went up on my line, and I was caught on camera swooning because I was like, oh my gosh, he's so good looking. And then I finally found my line.
Now, this is so nice that she just said that, folks, because let me tell you, I get caught all the time. Michael and I work together regularly, and so when I do an interview and he happens, like if I interview him or we're at a function where we're doing something together, I've been caught swooning a lot, like biting my tongue and like doing these cute little neat things, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so not professional. But you can't help it, right? You're like, OMG all the time. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's quite healthy. So swoon as much as possible, folks. That's the idea here. It's Christmas time too. It's like ridiculous. So first of all, thank you for saying yes. I can't tell you how excited I am about this because I have a whole slew of questions that I'll ask you and you can answer, and I'll put those together in an article, and they'll come out in time, obviously, for the December issue. We'll figure out a way to put you on the cover. I do want to read off the business part of stuff, which is I'm going to tell everybody how to find you guys, your website, your social media, etc. And then the last thing I do is I get to tell you what I think of you. That's the only part of the show. Yes. And I have another surprise or two for you. That's the other thing. I don't know if your PR told you, but I surprise everyone on the show. Everybody who comes on the show gets surprised. Well, you're about to get
138 is amazing. We love 138. And Catherine did not tell us about any surprises.
I don't think Catherine knew that. Yes, absolutely. And I don't want to forget, obviously, we must do a shout-out to Miss Catherine Binkley of the 130 Agency. 130agency.com. You need to look her up. You need to work with her. Let me tell you why. This poor woman's been waiting on me for 2 months. I've had to reschedule repeatedly. My life has been kind of a mess lately, and she has been so lovely and patient and professional. Catherine, I can't thank you enough. They are as lovely as you portrayed them to be, if not even more so. So if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be on this show right now. So, Catherine, lots of love to you, and I will send a copy, of course, of this to her as well as to both of you. So as far as for Jim, if Jim tell me she's not lovely.
I'm so sorry.
Right?
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just was going to shower Catherine and 138 with love because they are the best PR company that exists. They are so amazing. But I didn't want to interrupt you, and I'm so sorry that I did. What were you saying?
Catherine's lovely. She absolutely is. And I, of course, have that up on my social media and, of course, obviously on the radio show page as well. So hopefully if you guys need somebody, please don't hesitate to reach out to Catherine. And if you need to reach her directly, I can send information. Now, Jim, it's Jimmy Chandler. I found him on the following places: IMDb, Amazon, LinkedIn, YouTube, as well as on Facebook. And, of course, I'll read the websites off as well. As far as for Jenn, she's on 7,000 places, it would seem. My God. Facebook, Instagram, IMDb, LinkedIn, YouTube. Also, site Jenn, which is GOTZON.business. The movie we were talking about, the website, thefarmerandthebelle.net. And there is one. Oh, no, that is it. That is it, isn't it? Oh, wait, we don't want to forget to tell everybody. I'll give you at least 10 or 12 places to find the movie. Currently at Google Play, iTunes, DirecTV, Amazon Prime, Fandango, Dish, Walmart, YouTube, Vimeo, among probably 75 other places at this point. Did I miss anything or any place else?
Every place where you can consume media except for Netflix and Hulu.
There you go. That's absolutely right. It's
and
everywhere.
Our website, thefarmerandthebelle.net.
Farmerandthebelle.net.
Yes, thefarmerandthebelle.net.
Ding, ding, ding.
And on thefarmerandthebelle.net, that's where you guys can find the things we were talking about, which is the beautiful Mabel, which is featured in the film, as well as the beauty bracelet, as well as the Divine Beauty book. You can find out more information, of course, about Jim and Jenn, and, of course, see the trailer of the film, which is on my Facebook page as well as on the radio show page as well. So, yes, this is the part where you guys get surprised first, and I get to tell you what I think of you. Honestly, what I was thinking. when I was thinking about how to surprise you, I was like, well, first of all, I'll surprise them with the magazine, because most people don't see that coming. Not everybody knows that I have the radio show as well as the magazine. So that's number one. Number two, so there's two other surprises. First of all, I'm a mom. So on the side note, if you guys need anything, I have about 8,000 pounds of clothes, toys, etc. I do come to New York back and forth, so feel free to hit me up and you can get the hookup on that. That's just a side note. But on a serious note, professionally, you guys have done so much, and you've been showered with accolades like awards and all sorts of wonderful, wonderful things said about you. However, one of the things that hasn't happened yet, I'm guessing, is that someone like me, who is now I'm on my 6th year with my film festival, one of the things I pride myself on is showing films that are incredibly inspiring, and yours is the epitome of that description. So, if you don't mind, I was wondering if you would allow me to special screen your movie at my festival this year in, hopefully, New York City still in July.
Yes.
Absolutely. Christmas in July. It's
the
perfect.
baby's like, yeah, Christmas in July is perfect,
saying,
isn't it? And my birthday. Yeah, I know.
And Mama,
my birthday's
my birthday
in July.
too. What day?
15.
What day
July
are you born
15th.
in July? Okay,
July 15th.
I was born July 24th.
You bet.
I'm born July 24th.
See, it's amazing.
People.
Happy birthday,
July
you
people
two.
are amazing. Thank you very much. So yes, I appreciate
Cindy,
you saying
this
that.
is amazing. When you said
we're
that,
not done.
my eyes just wait, my eyes just overflowed in tears when you invited us to be a part of your festival. My heart is just so soaring with gratitude. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
When you
you're
when
quite
you
welcome.
announced the intro about you having a festival, I thought to myself, Jim, wouldn't it be so cool for us to submit to Cindy's festival? I wonder if our movie would be good enough.
Well, honestly, I've been told that I have some of the best judges. I do have very, very hard judges, and they're wonderful. And so, last year we were very lucky. We screened movies from Tribeca and Cannes and Slamdance and Sundance. So I'm at that point where I'm really particular about the people that I pick, but I try to help many, many filmmakers. And you're, not that you need my help, but it would be a privilege for me to be able to show that. Now, I have two more things for you, and then I'll get to the end. I obviously know that you work and you have plenty of distribution already, but one of the things that I always look at are for films that are interesting that I can pass on. So if you guys ever find that your resources run out and you need more distribution, I work with 8 distributors, so feel free to reach out to me and see if you want anything or need anything, etc.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lastly, but not least, you guys are very on the spiritual side of things, and it just so happens that I happen to work with another guest of my show who actually operates a network that does all sorts of things, meaning they have spiritual talk shows, films, etc., and I would bet a dime to a dollar that they would pick up your movie in a heartbeat. So if you'd like, I'll connect you with the WIN Network, and you two could work out something where you could have your film on yet another platform, should you desire.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you very much. That's great.
That's so cool.
Well, good. Now you're not crying
That
anymore.
is
So good.
so-
So we can lead right to the end.
So cool. You're like Santa Claus. What color Santa
Actually,
hat do you have? A red one or a pink one?
I do. I have a very red, sparkly one that my sweetheart, when he comes home, he's going to be like, "I love that hat." I tend to be very sparkly. I wear a lot of sparkly jewelry. Well, you're on Facebook now, so look on my Facebook. You'll see there's a lot of sparkle. So a lot of glitter. So I have a very red, sparkly hat. And just today, somebody called me Cindy Claus. Because I am Cindy Claus this year. I am literally helping with donations this year for a bunch of families. So it was very, very sweet. But no, I feel I have a heart for filmmakers. I'm in love with an actor. So obviously my business has now become making other actors and other filmmakers prosper, because I see his struggles and I see his successes. So it's important to me. And you deserve it. And you are wonderful people. So now, having said that, because your baby's ready for you.
We're very.
You're quite welcome.
Thank you very much.
Cindy, how can we
The last thing-
support? How can we financially support and give donations to the fund that you're helping those in need this year? Maybe we could put it on our Facebook page and seek our community as well if anybody would like to contribute.
Oh, how lovely. That would be wonderful. In fact, normally I don't talk about this. The first time I did this, I did 5 families. This year we're up to 15. And I don't like talking about it because my belief is, and I'm sure you've heard this, I work with celebrities that are constantly talking about their charities and what they do. The root of charity is me just doing it. and not telling anyone.
Amen.
Because that really is.
Amen.
I don't need someone to recognize me. But yes, if you're willing to do that, I would like that. I have literally, as we speak right now on my porch, there are donations being dropped off for these families. And it's terrible. You know, they're going through a hard time and a crisis. And I can email you all that information, which I will, because we'll have to follow up with the film and everything else. I definitely will, because it's important to me that we make a difference and that we here at home do what we can do, of course. So thank you so much for that. I do want to tell you what I think of you, because I believe your baby's going to probably be like, okay, enough already. Let's get to me. So I want to tell you what I think of you both. Like I said, this is the only thing that is not scripted, and I do this because then you know that I'm genuinely speaking from the heart, and I haven't written any of this. So here it goes. First of all, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, I felt terrible because of my own personal circumstances. I haven't been able to interview these two folks. I've had to put it off repeatedly. I thought the captain was probably going to lose her head at some point, and I'm like, well, I'm a mom, and now you're going to find out mom life, and mom takes priority over everything and everyone, no matter how many listeners I have. So these two were very gracious, and I approached Jenn just yesterday, and I asked her if she could graciously forgive me because I had to put them off one more time. She did the loveliest thing for me, and it made me cry, actually, that a perfect stranger would do something so very sweet for me after I had had them wait for such a long time. I knew from the beginning that this would be a wonderful interview because the minute that I watched this movie, it resonated with me. And why? Because I am one of those little girls who is still running around putting on a dress at 51 because I don't feel pretty without it. I learned that very little on. And so you're providing hope and help for young children all over the place who need to hear that message. The movie is beautifully put together, and what's so wonderful is that the love that I felt that you have for the two of you, you put on a screen, you screamed it all over the world, and you said, we're not some big Hollywood stars. We're wonderful, wonderful actors with great hearts and with a love of humanity, and we want to make a difference. If that isn't the definition of amazing, I don't know what is. I feel humbled and honored that you picked my platform. I've seen you all over the place. I've watched your work, and I am just privileged to have this moment with you. I thank you for spending that time with me. Know that I will stay in touch with you. and I can't thank you enough. God, and I don't want to kill Jenn here.
I'm crying again.
Oh, no. Everybody's always crying. They come on my show and they cry. That's what they do. Everybody cries all the time. I'm like, stop crying.
It's of joy.
I'm sorry.
It's of joy.
Oh.
It's of joy.
Oh,
thank you so much. It's so gracious. It's so kind.
And very, very true.
I'm so glad that our story really, really spoke. It really spoke.
Absolutely. It did. And it deserves to be sent out more and more and more. You bet.
Amen.
So,
thank you.
Absolutely. And watch out when we get offline. Go ahead and send me your email, Jenn. I'll forward you the interview, all this information. I'll wrap up everything, of course. And, and we'll just stay in touch and go from there. And go back to your baby and enjoy him. One for being so cooperative, by the way. Give him a hug for me. Thank you, guys.
He has been so good.
I know, right?
He's ready.
He was quiet.
Very patient.
You want to talk about it?
He did great.
Yeah, okay, we'll talk about it.
That's awesome. All right, you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Cindy.
everyone. Thank you for having us, Cindy.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Anytime,
God bless
guys.
you.
Baby James says he loves
have
you.
a great weekend. Oh, thank you.
Bye.
We'll be in touch soon. Bye, guys.
Absolutely.
Tell me that they weren't wonderful, right? Jim and Jenn Chandler. I can't say enough. And truly was moved. Absolutely wonderful interview. And, oh, your little boy is so adorable. One more time, folks. To find Jim, it's Jimmy Chandler. He is on IMDb, Amazon, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. As for Jenn, you can find her on Facebook, Instagram, IMDb, LinkedIn, YouTube. Business site is Jenn, JENN-GOTZON.business. And, of course, the name of the movie is thefarmerandthebelle.net. Website goes. You can also find the movie. You can either buy it or you can stream it on Google Play, iTunes, DirecTV, Amazon Prime, Fandango Now, Dish, Walmart, YouTube, and Vimeo. Again, a huge thanks to everybody who is listening in today. I truly, truly, again, am so amazed and beyond excited and elated that we've gotten to this point and so many viewers. Now you know I've talked too much. Listeners, I'm I'm just forever grateful. That's all I can say. Again, Catherine Binkley with 130. Can't say enough. Just thank you for your patience and persistence and helping to allow this to happen. I truly appreciate it. The last thing before I go, I want to remind everybody, I'm going to be back on the radio tomorrow at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. Dorothy Enriquez, who is an author, will be visiting the show. I'm also back on Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned, because we don't know exactly who, but we do have a guest on Sunday. I know that doesn't sound right, but hey, give me a break. I'm trying to work it out. Last but not least, I don't want to forget to mention this. To those of you that watch me on social media know that it's been a extremely challenging couple of months with myself and my children. I just want to say thank you so much. And most of you know who you are, for reaching out, for listening, and being patient and being my support system right now. It's always so appreciated, and we all kind of fall down, and now seems to be my time, and I'm making the best of what I can. So I just want to say thanks so much to everybody. And last but not least, as always, my partner, my better half, and my best friend. I wouldn't be making it without you. So thank you. I do. So you guys have a great spout with Christmas shopping and decorating, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.